In this video, I'm going to show you how you can actually audit your agency operations by yourself. I'll be giving you an insight into the exact process I take every single one of my partners through over here at Fluxomate. We work with agency owners all over the world to set up scale-proof systems. I'm going to be showing you why you should actually audit your own agency in terms of your operations, how to get a current breakdown of what you're currently doing, how to actually optimize it, and how to take this whole thing to the next level with 3 key points. If you're looking to set up a scale-proof solution for your agency when it comes to your operations, then this is the first thing you need to do before you move on to automating or creating different systems, because there's no point automating something that's inefficient. It will just lead to more inefficiency. Like I said, guys, this is the exact same thing we do for every single one of our clients over here at Fluxomate, where we set up scale-proof systems. We take about 2 weeks to go through this process and get a clear understanding of what they're currently doing. So whether you already have all your operations mapped out or you're brand new and just want to set up a really clear system, when it comes to your operations, you'll enjoy this video because I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can audit your own agency using the exact same process that we use. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's get straight into how you can actually audit your own agency from an operational perspective. So guys, like I said in the introduction, today I'm going to be showing you how you can actually audit your own agency. The first thing I want to go over is why you should actually do this. So when I mean audit, the actual definition of it is a systematic examination of records, activities, or operations to determine if they comply with established standards, regulations, or objectives. Now, this word is usually used in the finance side of things. So like auditing accounts, for example. Over here, we're going to be using it to audit your operations. So the back end of your actual agency, which in my opinion is the heart of your agency. All of these different things like marketing, sales, obviously do have a massive impact. But operations is what actually allows you to deliver these results to your clients. So I think it's extremely important. That's exactly why in this video, I'll be showing you the exact same thing I use in Fluxomate, which if you don't know is my agency, where we help agency owners all over the world set up scale-proof systems. And what we actually do when we welcome new clients to our program. Now, if you don't know about our program, it's broken down to 5 key stages. And one of the first things we do when we actually onboard clients, we take about 2 weeks to go through the setup stage. And what actually happens in the setup stage is we're doing the exact same thing I'm going to show you today, which is auditing the business from an operational perspective. Now, the reason we do this is because of this guy right here. You might have heard of him. He founded quite a small company called Windows. And he has this amazing quote that really kind of changed my perspective on the importance of doing things like this. And it's broken down here. The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. Before we go over to actually building any system, building any automations, or setting up any sort of infrastructures, we don't want to do that on the base of something that's not already efficient and optimized in the first place, which is why we spend about 2 weeks. It's a very intensive process where we probably hop on about 8 different calls with our clients just to get a really good understanding of firstly what they're currently doing, and secondly how we can optimize it so it's actually ready for automation and the different systems we're going to build out. This is actually what I'm going to be showing you in this video. So you'll be able to copy and paste this within your agency and kind of audit your own agency so you're ready to set up your own kind of systems, automations when the time comes. So there's a ton of different benefits to actually doing this, but the 3 ones I kind of outlined for this video are the following. So firstly, spot gaps. Now this is probably the first thing that people that we work with actually comment on as we're going through the process. I'll explain why. Throughout this whole process, we're questioning our different partners, but they also question themselves. As they're explaining what they're currently doing, they always are able to identify major gaps in things that they're not doing or just not documented, for example. Like I said, this is probably the biggest thing that people realize straight away. We're going through different questions, which I'm going to show you in this video. They kind of start to realize, oh, wait, maybe I don't have something for that. Or why am I not tracking that? Just an example. So that's the first benefit of actually auditing your own operations. You get to spot gaps and different things that you're not doing or you haven't really documented well. Secondly, you get to have a clear structure. Now, the top agency owners do have different SOPs and playbooks, but for most people, it's all in your head. And this is fine if it's just you. It's not really an issue because you already know everything. But once you actually start growing your team, it can be very problematic because they're not in your head the same way you are. They don't know how to do certain things. So having this kind of audit of your internal systems allows you to actually take everything that's in your head and put it down into documentation so your team and everyone will be happy. And the last benefit I think of when we kind of go through this whole audit system and the benefits of it is the improvements in quality. This is a massive benefit of actually being able to kind of follow this video and auditing your own systems. And that's what I'm going to show you how to actually do today. This will allow you to do is take your current systems and upgrade them to improve that experience for yourself, your team, but also your clients. So it's a win-win for everyone within your agency, allowing you to improve the different quality of different things like service delivery and just general morale of your team. Now, like I said, there's a bunch of different benefits to actually auditing your system. These are probably just the three top ones that I wanted to outline in this video. All right, so hopefully now you have a good understanding of why you should actually be conducting this audit. So now it's time we actually get into how we're actually going to do this. So the first thing we need to do is break down your current operations. Now, we do this all the time with our clients, obviously, because we just sign someone on, let's say, and we want to have a really, really clear understanding of what they are currently doing in terms of their agency, but also in terms of their backend systems. This kind of sets the foundations for us to actually build the different optimizations in the next stage, so I'm going to show you in a second. But yeah, first thing we'll do is break down the current operations. The first thing that's very, very easy to do is you want to map out the different key processes within your business. Obviously, this is going to be unique to your specific circumstances. Most of you guys watching this are agency owners, but you have a bunch of different types of agencies and a bunch of different types of niches. But in general, the 6 main areas we want to break down are a team breakdown, an offer breakdown, a sales breakdown, an onboarding breakdown, a fulfillment breakdown, and a retention breakdown. You kind of see for this step, especially kind of down the line, in terms of the client journey, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're mapping out here. The client journey and everything that you do in between that. So it starts with sales, then you go to onboarding. If they sign on, if they keep on going, then you go fulfillment, where you deliver your product, and then you go on to retention, so you can kind of evaluate how to actually keep them. A couple bonuses: one, you could also include recruitment breakdown if you're constantly hiring a lot of people, and also meeting breakdown. But we're just going to be focusing on these 6 topics right now. Before we actually get started, I'm going to tell you a little secret tip that'll make your life a lot easier to actually follow. You want to get online whiteboard. Now, this can be a real whiteboard like the one I've got over there. I might start using that a bit more in different YouTube videos, or an online whiteboard like the one I'm using here. There's a ton of different options available. We've got Miro, Figma, even Lucid charts. Honestly, guys, they're all pretty much the same. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I recommend signing up to a free trial and then kind of from there, choose your favorite one. But the one I'm using for everyone that's asking is Figma. You can sign up to that in the description if you like. And I will say, if you already have different SOPs or playbooks and how you do certain things in your agency, life should be a lot easier for you in this process. But I still recommend you go through them just to make sure everything's updated. Because what happens with a lot of agency owners, at least with my experience, they think they can have everything mapped out in a beautiful manner. But then when it actually comes time to asking them questions and going through different processes, it's very, very easy to kind of cover those gaps that they might have done in the past. So even if you do have different SOPs and playbooks, I really recommend you take this time to kind of go over them to make sure nothing's missing in them. Cool. So now let's go over how you can actually break down your operations. So what we usually do, we hop on a call with our clients. Like I said, stage 1 is about 2 weeks, and within that we have about a minimum of 8 different calls with them. So we speak a lot, and we kind of hop on the clients and basically ask them different questions, kind of pretending as if we are their clients. So for example, I would ask things like, okay, what are the next steps? What happens after that? Or how does that actually work? Or what happens if, and different questions like that. Now, I will say at this point, you will realize you do have major gaps within kind of workflows and different things like that. But don't need to panic because we're actually going to go ahead and fix that in the next stage, which is the optimization stage. Before you kind of go off and do that, I'm going to give you a couple pointers for each on different sections we talked about today. Because like I said, it's hard for me to do this for every single person. I'll give you some different pointers of different things you need to jot down when you're actually going through these different key processes, break down what you're currently doing. So let's get started. For team structure, firstly, ask yourself, what actually is your team structure? Who does what and who looks after what? Ideally, you draw out one of these different kind of tree charts with yourself at the top if you're the CEO, different trail of force within the different departments and everything like that. That'll make life a bit easier. Second, we talk about your offer. Here you want to talk about what services you actually do and what your offer actually includes. Honestly, you probably already have an offer breakdown. The reason we mainly do this is just to get a good understanding of what a client actually does. If you already have your offer breakdown, you can skip this step right here. Then we move over to sales breakdown. Now, I will say we are kind of seeing the lead gen and marketing side of things. And honestly, that's because most of the agencies that we actually work with are marketing agencies. So they already have that stuff kind of figured out. It's not my place to kind of interfere and tell them different things to do if it's their expertise to actually do that stuff. But if you don't have kind of process mapped out in terms of how you're actually getting leads within your sales cycle, then I also recommend mapping that out to get a really, really clear understanding. But in terms of sales, you don't want to look at this from a sales perspective. You really want to look at this more from an operational perspective. So, for example, what is your current sales process from start to finish? And you can even ask yourself how you currently get leads. Then we move on to onboarding. Here, the easiest way I think to do this is to talk about what you're doing immediately. So as soon as a client pays or whatever that first initial trigger is for your onboarding process, what you do within the first 24 hours, what you do within the first 7 days, and very importantly, what you need the client to actually do. You see a lot of different onboarding processes that talk a lot about what you're doing or what your different employees are doing. But within that onboarding process, your client usually has to do different things as well. So make sure you have a clear idea of what they actually need to do because it'll come a bit useful in the future. In terms of fulfillment, you want to talk about how you actually deliver your services, who in your team is actually involved in each of the different steps, what do you actually use for your project management, whether you do something like Notion, Asana, ClickUp, I don't know, and what your client needs to do. Once again, it's very important to map out different stages and what they actually need to do within those stages to have a clear understanding of what they can expect when they actually sign up with you guys. And lastly, we have the retention side of things. This is basically what you're actually doing to keep your client within your retainer or within your ecosystem. So here you want to talk about different retention strategies you may have, how you can actually collect them feedback, and what you're actually doing to reduce churn. It's a massive pain point for a lot of agencies. And even though you may think you have a bunch of different systems in place, I really recommend you to take that time to write everything down so you have a clear understanding of everything that you are currently doing. Once again, guys, do not panic if you don't know a lot of things that I just mentioned now, because we found the problem rather than at least just ignoring it. We know what we actually fix, and that's what we're going to do in the next step when we actually move on to optimizing different things. And once again, I'll give you guys another pro tip. Use an online whiteboard. It is really a massive game changer because it will make life 10 times better, even if you have already existing SOPs and different kind of playbooks, because it allows you to kind of everything down in kind of one place, which you can update, which will come into on the fourth part of this video, rather than having everything inside your head on a standalone document. Now, before you move on to the next stage, let's just have a clear understanding of what you currently need to optimize within your current breakdown. For each of the different key processes you identified, like onboarding, like fulfillment, like sales, for example, you should have a clear kind of mind map, similar to this, I guess, of what you're doing for each one of those stages and how you actually do between your different team members. Once you actually achieve that and you have a really clear understanding of what you're currently doing, we can move on to the next step, which is optimization. This is probably what most of you guys are actually waiting for. Now, it'll be impossible for me to create a custom game plan for every single one of your agencies. Like I said, we do have mainly agency owners watching this channel, but we have a bunch of different types of agency owners, marketing agencies, financial agencies, even different accounting agencies. And not only that, we don't only have a bunch of different types of agencies, we also have a bunch of different types of niches. So like I said, it'll be impossible for me to create a custom game plan, but what I can do is give you an insight into some of the most common pain points that I've actually seen taking these calls with our clients, because I'm still taking those calls in the setup stage. A great chance for me to actually communicate with the clients and form that initial bond. So I see a lot of these different pain points, and I'm going to be taking you through for each one of the stages, kind of key questions you should ask yourself, actually evaluate your own systems. Hey guys, Leo from the future here. Just a quick little detour from wherever it is you're watching. I'm happy to announce that we just released our brand new community. But this will be a community for different agency owners who are looking to set up different skill-proof systems. Within the community, if you go up to the classroom section, you can see we've already preloaded every single resource from our different YouTube videos, and this is just going to keep growing and growing. For example, if you want some of the different automation blueprints, the templates, or any other resources from the video you're watching right now, you can check out the first link in the description to join the community and get access to this classroom where we have all the different resources from all the different YouTube videos. We also have a couple of cool things in here, such as different unlocks at different levels. But the key part of this is that I want to create a place where any of you guys can just ask me different questions and communicate directly with my team, where I can also share insights on things that are currently working within our partners' agencies. As with everything else that we do, this is a 100% free community. I'm not charging you a single penny for this. It's just a way for me to provide even more value, what we're already doing with all the different YouTube videos. I don't want to say too much, guys. All the information can be found in the description. It also is a public group, so before joining, you can have a look around different conversations that are going on and the different things that are available. If you think this is something that is interest to you, please go ahead and actually check out the first link in the description to join. And I'm sure I'll catch you inside the community, guys. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this community growing and becoming the biggest place for agency owners who are actually looking to set up skill-proof systems. I'll let you get back to the video now. Thanks. I'll see you inside. Bye-bye. So let's get straight into it, guys. I hope it helps. Let's get started with the team breakdown. So these are some questions you need to ask yourself once you've kind of got your current process mapped out in front of you. Firstly, is everyone clear about their roles and responsibilities? Now, what I mean by that is, are you different team members or department heads very clear on what specifically they need to do and the different responsibilities that actually come with the role? I might think so, but I think it's worth actually just hopping on a quick meeting with every single one of your team members and clearly outlining what they think the roles and responsibilities are and what you think they should be, and kind of getting yourself on the same page. Communication is very important, and have a meeting like that will allow you to make sure everyone's on the same page about what they actually need to do. Secondly, I want to ask you if you have regular team meetings. This is massive, right? Obviously, you don't have, if you have a lot of employees, you don't have to meet with every single one of them, but at least a regularly meeting with your department heads, let's say once a week or however much, to really get an understanding of what's currently working and what's not working, and kind of steps you need to do to actually improve it. Secondly, what are the different departments? Now, this will make your life very easy, especially if you have quite a small team. I have quite a small team. I still map everything in the different departments, fulfillment to content, financial stuff, customer success, different things like that. It makes my life easier because I say I do want to have more hires. I kind of look at what department is actually lacking and come from there. Fourthly, I want to ask you if there's any clear process for team members to provide feedback or raise concerns. As I can't stress enough the importance of actually collecting feedback. It's kind of similar thing to your clients, right? You want to address problems before they actually become problems. Having a way for your team members to actually provide you feedback or raise concerns about different things will prevent you from churning them out, which is a massive thing. You know, everyone talks about client churn, when employee churn is probably just as important, if not more. So have a clear way for your team to actually create feedback and have that feedback loop with your team members, avoid any problems from growing. Then I also want to ask you if you have a team onboarding process. Once again, everyone talks about client onboarding. Team onboarding is just as important, especially if you're onboarding a lot of people on a regular basis. I'd recommend setting up a kind of onboarding process that you can copy and paste between the different departments. And another question I want to ask you, which is very important, is what metrics are you actually tracking for each of the major roles within your agency, and obviously how you actually tracking those metrics. This is very important. You know, giving people like your appointments as, for example, key KPIs or metrics that need to follow in the day-to-day will make their life a lot easier, but also once again clarify the different roles and responsibilities that they actually have on a consistent basis. Actually allow you to track the different performance of different team members in your team without having to meet with every single person. So make sure you have a clear understanding of the different metrics you're actually tracking and how you're actually tracking them. That's pretty much it for team breakdown. Let's move on to the sales side of things. A massive question I need to ask you is, are you actually qualifying your leads? Now, this isn't so important if you don't have that much lead volume, but if you get to the point where you're booking consistently meetings and you're actually booking out your calendars, I recommend implementing a system that actually qualifies your leads. Let's say you could do that on a scale of 1 to 10, or let's say 3 different categories. And let's say they're under a certain number, or if they're in a bottom category, you should have a system that automatically just cancels that meeting to keep your closers calendars free. Secondly, are you actually nurturing your leads? This is very important. I don't remember the exact statistic. I remember Google did an experiment a couple of years ago, and they basically found out that in order for someone to basically trust you, they have to consume about 8 or 7 hours of your content, which is crazy. I recommend always having some sort of nurturing sequence for your leads when they first book a call or interact with different stages in your funnel to nurture them on your different content. Obviously, YouTube helps out with that. That's honestly the main purpose of why we're actually creating this YouTube channel. It connects a bunch of different mini VSLs to build that trust. How do you actually remember to follow up? Now, once again, this doesn't really matter if you only have a couple of leads coming up, because it's very easy to remember. But if you have a large lead volume of leads, it's very easy for your closers or even for yourself if you're taking your sales calls to actually forget to follow up. So think about what kind of system you can implement to automatically follow up with your leads. And this is kind of the point. How do you ensure the follow-ups are consistent? Now, I think what I meant here is kind of structural follow-ups or even kind of long-term basis. Just have a clear idea of how to actually do that. Luckily, I want to ask you, what strategies do you have to re-engage dead leads? So let's say you met with someone, they said, no, I'm not interested, or this isn't the right time for me. What happens 3 months from now, 6 months from now? They might be in a better position. They might even be interested with the pain points that you outlined in the sales call. So I see this a lot. I feel like a lot of agencies have a lot of stockpiles of dead leads that they think is just done and dusted, where you can easily reactivate those leads because, like I said, a lot changes in 6 months. So there's opportunity for you to get a client from an old lead. A massive question I also want to ask you is your CRM up to date? This is one of the optimizations that you need to have to establish a really good sales system, is an up-to-date CRM. So whether you're doing it or your closers are doing it, you always need to have those different systems and to automatically update CRM when there's different calls. Also encourage your closers to actually update it on a regular basis. Another massive question you need to kind of optimize in your sales process is how often you're actually reviewing your sales calls. Sub question between this is, are you even recording your sales calls? If you're not, you obviously should. All the top sales guys say that you should. But now we kind of get into the sales breakdown side of things, where you kind of want to ask yourself, what if? So go through your current process, and for every single step that happens, ask yourself, what if? So for example, what if a lead doesn't show up? What if they don't book a call? What if they're not interested? What if after I follow up, they are interested? You kind of set up a bunch of different sub levels, which between each step of your process to clearly find what happens at every single stage. And once again, here, I want to ask you what metrics you're actually tracking and how you're actually tracking these metrics. Cool, guys. So that's it for the sales side of things. So far, we've covered a team breakdown and a sales breakdown. I did skip the offer side of things. In most cases, you already know what your offer is. Like I said, the only reason we do that within our setup stage is to get a clear understanding of the business we're actually dealing with. If you do want another example, or a much more in-depth example, I should say, of a sales process breakdown, I recommend checking this video out right here. Again, idea of the perfect SMA sales system for your closers. This will give you an example of really laid out different sales system within the different stages. You can get an idea of what that actually looks like on our end. Next, we want to go through onboarding, a massive pain point for different agencies right now. So let's go over the different questions. Firstly, what does initial success look like? And are you getting them a win within the first 7 days? This is massive. Within your onboarding process, I would recommend integrating some sort of immediate win you can actually get your clients to reassure them. As soon as they press purchase and they see the money leave their account, regardless of how good your customer support is or everything like that, they are going to start regretting the decision. Getting them a win with them for 7 days, no matter how small it is an easy way to reinforce the decision. So kind of look at your fulfillment, try to identify if there's any quick initial successes or any quick wins you can get them, and try get to them as soon as possible, obviously ideally within those 7 days. Secondly, how long does it actually take to get them onboarded? Think about your onboarding process, go over it. The key part of this, you just want to minimize how long it takes for a client to actually pay or actually get started with a different service delivery. The shorter this is, the better. You don't want any delays, which is why things like automation come in very, very handy. Fourthly, how do you actually ensure clients are informed and comfortable throughout the onboarding process? If you do have a longer onboarding process, you need to set up constant communication to keep your clients as calm and relaxed as possible and like they don't feel they're getting scammed. So kind of go through your onboarding process, and if it is long, make sure to include different parts of communication so you're constantly keeping your clients in a loop. Fifthly, what documentation do you provide to your clients during onboarding? So like I said, sometimes during onboarding, your client will have to do things, whether you're doing this on an onboarding call or just sending them over the information and kind of letting them reach out to you if you need anything. You can provide a clear indication of different things you're going to provide for your clients. But this can also include different onboarding videos, which is what I do. I include a bunch of different videos from my YouTube to kind of show them or give them an idea of what they can actually expect within the next stages. So for example, this is a video I would actually send to them now that it's finished recording within the first onboarding email, so they can get an idea of what's actually going to happen within the setup stage. Another question I can ask you is how do you actually set up and manage expectations during onboarding? This is a massive thing. If your sales guys gave some crazy expectations, it's your customer success managers or your onboarding expert's job to actually realign those expectations and make sure everyone's on the same page on what happens next and the kind of results they can expect within the next, let's say, month or so. So make sure you have a system that automatically allows you to manage expectations or set the expectation on how your system's actually kind of set. Another question is, are you giving them an onboarding gift? Now, this is a very, very minor thing. It can be something like a handwritten card, some custom merch, which I've recently started doing just to kind of make them part of the family and reinforce the relationship you actually have. And once again, I'm going to ask the same 3 questions I did last time. Ask yourself, what if? So go through your onboarding process, and within each different stages, ask yourself, what if? So for example, what if they don't show to the onboarding call? What if they don't respond to our initial payment? What if they don't sign the contract? You want to do that for every single step within the process. It's something a lot of people miss out, but they're very, very important because those what ifs do happen sometimes. So you kind of want to have that kind of mapped out within your process so you know how to deal with them when it actually happens. And obviously, I'm going to ask you what metrics you're actually tracking to make sure you're having a successful onboarding and how you're tracking those metrics. So an example of this can be, I don't know, time for the first win, number of messages you send, and take it to onboard, different things like that. Make sure you also have an automated system to actually track them, or basically they're not going to be tracked. And once again, I will say, if we do want more detail on this, I've also have another video going over the perfect onboarding process. You can check it out in the top right hand corner. It's probably one of my favorite videos I've done in terms of kind of system breakdown. It's a very, very highly demanded video. Onboarding has been a very, very popular thing within the agent space within the past, let's say 3 months or so. So I'd recommend checking out if you want a really, really good guide on how to actually onboard your clients. Next, we're going to go through fulfillment. Now here, when I say fulfillment, is basically how you actually deliver your clients your specific offer. So a couple questions I want to ask you is how you actually delegate tasks among team members. If you have a team with different team members that deal with different things, you want to have a really, really clear system how you actually delegate things within that client journey or within the fulfillment process to different team members. I'm also going to ask you how you actually prioritize or manage multiple projects or clients. Now, this depends. If you're a company that only deals with a very, very limited amount of companies at once, kind of like myself, then it's not that bad, right? But when you're dealing with a lot of people, especially at scale, when you're bringing people on every single day, need to have a system to prioritize and projects. So, for example, if some people are not getting as good results on the marketing side of things, or let's say you're not booking enough appointments to different people, you should have a system to actually prioritize different clients and manage multiple clients within different customer success managers and everything like that. The third question I'll ask you is actually how you actually ensure different projects stay on schedule within budget. And I'm going to go to it in a second, but obviously ask yourself, what if? So, for example, what happens if they don't go on schedule? What happens if they go over budget? Everything's like that. Also want to ask you how you actually communicate project status and updates to clients. Now, even in the fulfillment process, you need to maintain that constant communication with your clients, or else if you leave them in the dark, they're just going to feel unsure and they're very likely to actually churn out. So set up constant communication systems in everything you do. We try to send updates every 2 days with every single thing that's happened. You want to keep your client in the loop. You don't want them guessing and thinking, oh, what these guys are actually doing. And it's actually something I got from Alex Hormozy, because he just advises you to kind of update your clients every single day. Because obviously you're not going to want to fire someone that's doing work every single day for you, because you're probably thinking, oh, these guys are smashing it. So the closer you can get to updates every single day, the better it is. But the key part of this, you don't want to leave your clients in the loop, or in the dark, sorry. I also want to ask you how you actually handle issues or errors that arise during service delivery. This is going to happen. It's inevitable. You're going to make a mistake. There are going to be delays. You want to have a clear system on how you can actually handle those delays, either whether it's you or your customer success managers or your different fulfillment experts, so they can go ahead and actually make it right. I recommend watching this video from Alex Hormozy, which covers over the best ways to actually handle mistakes that you make and how to actually make it right. And once again, you're going to ask yourself, what if throughout different performance stages? Ask yourself, what actually happens if this happens? So, for example, what happens if it goes over budget? What happens if there's a delay in this? What happens if a team member can't do this? What happens if a team member have questions? Different things like that. Ask yourself, what if for every single step within the process? Because once again, those things do happen. And if you haven't mapped out, you can be ready for it and be able to kind of smash the different consequences as soon as possible. And obviously, I want to ask you what metrics you're actually tracking and how you're actually tracking those metrics. You see, this is a very, very reoccurring theme. You always want to have different metrics for different things that you're doing and a way to actually track them automatically to make sure everyone's in the same loop about what they actually need to be doing. Cool, guys. I do have a video going over how to actually break down the fulfillment side of things. Now, this is more on the program side of things, so kind of having a set outcome, different stages, and the different tasks within different stages. Check out this video, which basically goes over how we automated the done-for-you fulfillment in our agency. I recommend checking out, give you a better idea of how you can actually break down the fulfillment process specifically for a program. You can still apply it to a retainer. It's just a lot easier to do in a program. Cool, guys. So the last thing I want to talk about is retention. This is basically how you're going to retain your clients. A massive part in the agency space is that constant relationships you're actually bringing with people. Now, but you still need to have different retention systems to make sure you're actually keeping those people paying. So firstly, how you're collecting feedback. Now, I kind of mentioned this on the employee side of things, but it's just as important on the client side of things. You need to regularly collect feedback from your clients to make sure you're providing the best service. And once you collect that feedback, I also want to ask you how you're actually implementing that feedback. It's all good and well to having your client fill in a form, kind of open them up about their opinions. If you don't have any kind of system to easily implement that feedback between your different team members that are dealing with a client, then what's the point? You might as well just not collect in the first place. So when you make sure you have a clear system to collect the feedback and also to implement the feedback. I also want to ask you if you're conducting any exit interviews. Now, it's a massive thing. I actually learned this from Matt Shield himself. He kind of introduced me to the fact to have exit interviews when your clients actually want to cancel, because might be just a chance for you to just upsell them into a higher program. For example, if a client is canceling because they don't think they have enough communication with your team, I want to call, ask them why, and then be like, oh, is that the reason you're canceling? I didn't even know. You should have told me. I've got this program, which is just $500 more, whatever. That can allow you to have one-to-one support with one of my team members in a Slack channel. So you have that constant communication. Obviously, that's just an example. Exit interviews are a great way to just kind of reactivate clients that are churning out in your program or whatever service offering you're actually offering. I also want to ask if you offer any loyalty programs or incentives for long-term clients. This could be a bunch of different things. Obviously, it depends on your specific circumstances. I recently set up a service that kind of print on demand t-shirts for each of the different stages that a client actually achieves. So different revenue goals and everything like that. I think it's a cool way, especially if you have in-person events, everyone can come up, can a specific merch kind of show off. It's a great way to kind of the community within your agency. I also want to ask what kind of new services or products you can offer to existing clients. Upsell is a massive part, especially if you have things like a program where you have a set outcome which ends, let's say, in 6 months or so. Having clear services or products you can actually upsell to existing clients is an easy way to decrease that churn rate and increase the lifetime value for each customer. And obviously here I'm going to ask you what metrics you're tracking and how you're tracking those metrics. In terms of what if, once again, go through each one of the stages you carried out a second ago and ask yourself what if. So for example, what happens if they don't hit? What happens if they don't want to have an exit view? What happens if they don't leave feedback? Stuff like that. Obviously you want to track different metrics such as your churn rate is probably the massive one, lifetime value for each customer, different things like that. And I always recommend to track those automatically, because if you're doing it manually, it's just not realistic, especially at scale, to track manually unless you have someone in-house doing it. People just forget about it and update KPIs, or basically as useless as not tracking your KPIs. I always recommend to set up some sort of automation to track your KPIs automatically. Cool, guys. So obviously those are just examples. I wanted to give you some insights on different things I've seen on different calls I have with my clients on how you can actually optimize your current processes and take it to the next level to set up different skill-proof automations. If you want me to go in more detail into any single one of these, I'm happy to record a video kind of this, optimizing or creating a perfect process, in my opinion anyways. If you want to see that, you can leave a comment either within the description or within our community, because I love doing the stuff like this. It is a bit harder because obviously I don't have a clear insight on what you're specifically doing. And when I say you, I mean person watching this, but hopefully this gives you a general idea of the things you can actually do to optimize your agency. Now, once you've gotten that current breakdown and you've optimized it, we can talk about how to actually take this to this next level. And there's three main things you can do. The first thing is continuous improvement. This is not something you do once and just forget about it. This is something that you're going to have to repeat every single time. Say you change your offer, you change your staff, you change your partner, or let's say you interact with new tech, like different systems, automations. This is why having an online whiteboard makes your life a lot easier. This is very, very easy to actually update. You know, of my whiteboard over there, I use it all the time. If I want to actually document something, not in the SOP side of things, but kind of mapping something out, I always go for something like Figma or any sort of online whiteboard, because if there's any changes, it's very, very easy to actually update. If I wrote something on a whiteboard and I took a picture, that's very, very hard for me to actually change. Online whiteboards make it easy for you to actually apply that continuous improvement to the systems you just outlined. The second part I would say is getting feedback. Now, this is very, very important, and everything you're breaking down, get some feedback from your team. This is a game-changing move because it can use your tunnel vision that you may have when building out these processes and allows you to spot obvious flaws that you may have. This is a massive takeaway for me. At the start, I wasn't doing this with my team, and there was obvious flaws I was doing, and I kind of stuck in a very, very specific view. But having someone to actually share this with and collect different feedback allow you to kind of zoom out and see the bigger picture, to make sure you're not forgetting anything and making sure you're not doing stupid mistakes or just some stuff that doesn't make sense, which I'll admit I've done before. And the last thing, which I'm sure you probably guessed by now, is once you've done all of this, then you want to move on to the next stage, which is basically building different systems and automation. Now, once you kind of have out all these different key processes, there's two different things you can do. You can stay in your current position where you have a clear understanding of your different operations, as well as obviously having them optimized with the advice I gave you a second ago. You can do one of two things. You can continue to do this manually, or you can obviously integrate different SOPs and create different playbooks to make your life a lot easier, which, by the way, if you want a really, really clear guide on how to do that and create the best SOP, in my opinion, you can check out this video in the top right-hand corner. Very, very useful video. But if you do want to supercharge your agency, then this is just the start of your journey, because next you're going to have to build different systems, automations to kind of keep up with the workflow, I say, or the optimizations you just created. Now, all this is doing is giving you and your team the tools to just give the best possible experience at scale. Quite obviously, this is what we do as the next step within our program. As soon as you finish the setup stage, which is basically what I showed you today, we go into how we start building different systems and automations to actually support the different automations we created. For example, even though you have an amazing onboarding process, rather than having you do it manually, we create an automation to automatically just take care of it. That's just an example. I've got a bunch of different videos showing you how to do that in my channel. So once you've actually broken down your current operations and mapped everything out, check out this playlist right here to give you some ideas of different automation systems you can actually implement, as well as different project management systems, for example. But guys, that's pretty much it. You now know how to actually audit your own agency from an operational perspective. We've gone over why you should actually do this, how to break down your current operations, how to actually optimize them. I think went over probably 40 different questions you can actually use to optimize your current processes, and obviously how to take this to the next level using continuous improvement and feedback from your team members, and obviously integrating different automation systems to make this really, really a skill-proof operating system. That's it from me, guys. If you want to see more content like this, I recommend you like and subscribe to the video. So more videos related like this actually come up in your feed. We did also recently launch our school community, the Skill Proof Agency Hub. But this will be a community for different agency owners who are looking to set up different skill-proof systems. Within the community, if you go up to the classroom section, you can see we've already preloaded every single resource from our different YouTube videos, and this is just going to keep growing and growing. For example, if you want some of the different automation blueprints, the templates, or any other resources from the video you're watching right now, you can check out the first link in the description, join the community, and get access to this classroom where we have all the different resources from all the different YouTube videos. We also have a couple of cool things in here, such as different unlocks at different levels. But the key part of this is that I want to create a place where any of you guys can just ask me different questions and communicate directly with my team, where I can also share insights on things that are currently working within our partners' agencies. As with everything else that we do, this is a 100% free community. I'm not charging you a single penny for this. It's just a way for me to provide even more value, what we're already doing with all the different YouTube videos. I don't want to say too much, guys. All the information can be found in the description. It also is a public group, so before joining, you can have a look around different conversations that are going on and the different things that are available. If you think this is something that is interest to you, please go ahead and actually check out the first link in the description to join. And I'm sure I'll catch you inside the community, guys. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this community growing and becoming the biggest place for agency owners who are actually looking to set up skill-proof systems. And before you go, if you want to continue your learning, I recommend checking out this video right here, showing you how you can actually create the perfect SMA sales system. This is just obviously one of the small parts we talked about today. An example of really kind of clearly laid out system that consider different what ifs. So I recommend you continue learning today and move on to this video, so you can get a good understanding of how you can actually replicate this within your agency. But apart from that, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything, make sure to leave a comment in the description, or you can also join the school community and have direct access to me, my team, and all different agency owners over there. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.